What's up, everybody? Daniel Allison, the average dude, June 1st, 2023, Jenny.
Yep.
Can you believe that?
No.
Time keeps on the ticking, and I feel something special in the air. Do you think that's just in my head?
Yeah, it might be. I mean,
No.
New deodorant.
What's that?
It might be the new deodorant you're wearing.
Oh, you think it's my new deodorant? No. I feel a shift is coming, and I think it's important. We can grab any date and make it a special date. It can be the turnaround for us, Jenny.
Yep. That's it. I agree, Daniel.
Let me ask you this. Have you had any turnaround moments here recently? Life-changing situations, decisions? What's been going on in Jenny Winny's life? A lot.
Good night. I'm not ready to unload all that therapy. Life-changing. No, I can't think of anything right off, Daniel.
Nothing life-changing. Well, that's okay.
I had to be prepared for that.
Well, something I've been thinking about is the need for change, right?
Yep.
We need to change. So something that our guest talks a lot about is failing forward, right? So just because something doesn't go well, doesn't mean that we don't, not only do we not stop, but we don't necessarily keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Right. I mean,
and
expect different results.
So we keep going and trying new things. And that's something that's been on my mind a lot. You know, there was a comment that someone made on LinkedIn. They said, I can't bring myself to watch anybody. Somebody said, what do you think about LinkedIn Lives? Mm-hmm. And he said, I can't bring myself to watch any of them. And you know, it doesn't hold his attention is what he was saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I thought to myself, hey, that's just the truth. The truth will set us free, you know? So, me and you both have been thinking about how can we make this more exciting? What can we do more real? What did you say, Jenny?
More entertaining. And I didn't get to, earlier today I was about to say something to you and you go, just wait.
Okay, yeah. Now hit me with it. Hit me with the truth. Okay. I'm ready.
So Daniel's like, what people enjoy. And I said, Daniel, your brain.
Oh boy, here we go.
Like the average person. Okay. I know you're the average dude, but what is entertaining to you? Not, but I realized that you are entertained by things. So I was throwing out some things to you yesterday. It was completely we're going to see what we're about to do.
Yes.
But you were like, that's fun.
Yeah.
But that was not even on your radar until we actually did it. I'm just saying, like, the ink blots, but I changed it to something else. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about what we're talking about. So one of the things that we thought we'd do, we're going to start doing on this show is images and audios, music and images. They take us somewhere. Mm-hmm. They take us somewhere and everybody goes to a different place. We can be looking at the same image and go somewhere completely different. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about the ink blots, ink blot test that I don't understand it or how that works, but they show an ink blot and Jenny Winny might see something and I see something completely different, right?
That's it. But you said ink blot and I was like, no, I'm going to just do something that's going to bring about what feeling. Also, you and I, we talk a little bit about age, I don't really like the subject, but I'm 49 and
49. Your voice kind of cracked when you said that.
And you're 46.
Yeah.
But you'll be 47 in October. Anywho, now let's think back to when we were young and we would watch TV shows.
Yes.
And we thought these people were old.
Yes. Right.
Okay? So I just want to show you just a couple, and I want you to tell me how old you think that they were when we were watching these as kids.
How old they were when I was watching.
Yeah, not how old they were supposed to be portraying or anything like that, but how old they actually were.
I love it, Jenny Winny. Hit me with it.
Hit ya. Okay, Don Knotts, Barney Fife right there.
Don Knotts. Now this was Three's Company.
Yep.
And Don Knotts at that time, so that's after Andy Griffith. I'm gonna say Don Knotts at that age, in that stage of the game, I'm gonna say he's late 50s, early 60s.
55.
55. Yeah.
I thought he was so much older. Oh my Lord.
Yeah. No. Hey, what can I say? I got that one.
Now you ain't
Give me another one, Jenny.
Okay, I'm going to give you another one, but you just better not get it right. Okay, this is
okay. Raquel Rock says she's been watching the Golden Girls and she can't believe they're able to
okay, Rock, let me tell you, Blanche. Oh, I just started echoing.
You what?
I just started to echo.
Okay.
Blanche. Was it Blanche? The one that was always so like, she's all good looking. She was a few years older than me. Oh, died. Okay.
You're not taking that very well, Jenny.
I'm not, Daniel. I'm not.
Yeah. So she was right at 50 years old in that show.
Like 52 or 53. I almost put her on.
What? And I mean, no wonder. I mean, that's Golden Girls. That's amazing.
They're retired.
I should be wise by now.
You should be, but that's the beauty of it. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yep, hit me with it.
The Skipper.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's see. Gilligan and the Skipper. Now, how old's the chick in the middle? Sorry, I got distracted. Let's see.
I just blocked her out.
First thing that comes to mind, 56 years old, the Skipper.
43.
No way.
43.
How old was Gilligan?
In his 20s.
Was he really? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought Gilligan was like a mid-30s type of person.
I did too, but I looked and I was like, okay. And then I was like, you know what? We're kind of like journalists, Daniel. We need to verify the source. I looked up the birth date. I looked up when the series started. Just to make sure I wasn't telling a lie.
That's right. Well, hey, you did it. You did a fantastic job with that. So I know you've got some additional images. I don't know what those images are. I know what a couple of them are.
Yeah.
But we're going to use those images because what I want to do, and we're going to bring Jacob Brown on here very shortly. Mm-hmm. I want to continue this idea of where we see Isaac Owen. No way, Gilligan is the same age as Isaac Owen.
Listen, Isaac, I've just learned that Blanche from Golden Girls is like my age, and I don't understand. I don't understand. That's messed up my whole day.
Hey, Mima used to love her some Golden Girls. I tell you what,
I love the Golden Girls.
Do you?
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever watched the Golden Girls. Really?
Oh my goodness, Dan. Well, of course you haven't.
Hey, but I did watch some Gilligan's Island now.
I tried to make stuff that you would actually, you'd know.
So what we're going to do, we're going to continue with this kind of ink blottish type Jenny Winny twist on the ink blot, where we see an image and it takes us somewhere. And in order to help us do that, we're going to invite our guest on, Mr. Jacob Brown, and I'll grab him, Jenny. And we're going to add him.
Hello. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
You know what? Welcome, man.
I'm excited to be here. I really enjoyed that section of the podcast. It's funny, I turned 40 years old next Saturday. So
youngster.
You'll mess with your head, Jacob.
I'm starting to think a little bit more about my age and where I'm at. And it's funny to look back at those TV shows and wonder how old those people were at that time that we believed they were like ancient. Yeah.
It's like
funny how time. Go ahead, Jenny.
I was playing with Daniel, yesterday just to show him, and he was like, "Oh, you remember Boss Hogg on Dukes of Hazzard?"
Yep.
He was 49.
Wow.
He's 1 year older than you, Jacob. Now, what's funny, Jacob? Now, you tell me if this is the case with you. So, as we get older, the things change. I can remember the slide that I used to go to that looked so big when I was a kid. The one over there, the Hardee's over there on Pine Street on Gardner Road, Judy.
Oh yeah,
that slide was huge.
Circular slide.
Yeah, and I went when I got older as they were tearing it down. That thing wasn't big at all. I mean, isn't it funny how our perspective changes with time and size?
Yeah, perspective absolutely changes with time and size. And I'm the older I get, in my age, and the higher I get in my age and my wisdom, I'm starting to see life a lot differently than I used to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one thing that I love your content. You've got a great following on LinkedIn. Very motivational. I know you do a lot of keynote speaking and that sort of thing. But the thing that I really like about you, Jacob, in your headline, it says something that I think is important. Human being.
Yeah.
And so my first question for you, what does it mean to be real? Right? We hear a lot of people talk, you gotta be real. What does being real mean to you?
Being real to me means being authentic, being your true authentic self. You know, I tell a story about rediscovering your golden Buddha towards the end of my talks. And basically at the end of the day, we've got to get back to that childlike innocence and that child playful, like non-judgmental type person that we were real. We were real when we were young, but life's, crap has been thrown on us, our whole life. And we've protected ourselves and put up these walls, and we've become people that we were not originated and created to be. So being real is getting back to what we used to be. And that's innocent, loving, and valuable.
And it was easier. It was
it was a lot easier back then.
Yeah, because but now,
I mean, how successful would we be, everyone in life, if we had the innocence of a child on the playground, having fun, making funny faces, screaming, yelling, hands in the air?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of speaker would that make, Dave?
It'd make a great speaker. We define success as we get older in different ways, right? But in happiness in different ways. We get all our kids. I always laugh. My wife and I laugh. We get our kids all of these things, and when they were babies, the only thing they want to play with is the box it came in, right? That's their happiness. It's the simple things in life. And I get excited about cutting my lawn or, getting a new washer dryer, small things, it's not those crazy things anymore.
Yep.
Cutting the lawn. I'm about to say there is something about the meditative experience of a nice, not too hot, but just on that riding lawnmower, getting those lines looking good and cleaning up the yard. That is a great experience.
Yeah, there's something different about having that nice lawn, but also knowing that you put the work in to make it look that nice and clean. And it's something simple, but for me, it's important.
And it's like, this is going to be a reality show thing, but I just saw something recently, and it was Sylvester Stallone. Okay, he's doing a reality show now.
Yeah,
it has to be brilliant. Okay, obviously, but anyway. But you know what? It's something you just said. As we get older, he said, now money is not as valuable. It's time.
Yeah.
And you have limited time, and you better spend it wisely and who you want to spend it with. He was talking to his daughter because he's like, you don't need to be with that guy. You know what I mean? He's no good, but he was saying, because as you get older, you'll realize I shouldn't have wasted that much money, that much time with him.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I'm kind of like, yep, I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Time. I mean, one of the things that you said in one of your posts, Jacob, I think it was earlier today, you're talking about external validation. We talked about we're so dependent on others to tell us that we're doing good and not owning who we are. Can you speak a little bit about what was going through your mind when you wrote that post?
Yeah, we often seek external validation, right? When even if we feel good about the work or whatever we're doing in our lives, or we feel that we need to seek external validation for someone else to tell us, hey, you're doing great, right? Which is also good. I mean, words of affirmation is my number one love language. So I do love hearing that from time to time. But even if you don't hear it, you've got to learn to tap yourself and clap for yourself anyway. Right.
Yeah.
And as long as you are centered, as long as you are grounded with yourself and where you're at, and you can look in the mirror, you can lay your head on the pillow at night, then you're doing the right thing. You're going the right way. You don't need someone to tell you that at the end of the day. So the more that we can seek the light that's within us, that has been buried and given to us by God, that the better off we will be, because we're no longer going to be seeking external. We'll be seeking that feeling on the inside.
I love it. Jenny, Winny, I'm going to ask you to bring up picture number one. Now, I want this to be the icon, the symbol, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to see Jacob, what we're looking for is the first thoughts that come to mind, like the ink blot test. Tell us what goes into that human being brain of yours.
Yeah, like what emotion comes about, or, just whatever.
Oh, gosh. I'm on the hot seat.
Yeah, you're on the hot seat, Jacob.
No pressure.
NFL, that reminds me of my childhood watching my Uncle Monty play in the NFL. He played 7 years, went to 2 Super Bowls, and ultimately, once I made it to the league, I understood the magnitude and the performance and the high level of intuitive, crazy speed. I never thought things would be so fast, but that's the first thing I think of when I think of the NFL.
So you think of your Uncle Monty. So you guys were sitting around watching TV. Who was Uncle Monty's favorite team, or were you watching him on play NFL ball?
Yeah, I was watching him play NFL ball.
He played linebacker. He won 2 Super Bowls.
I got you.
Yeah, he played linebacker for the Buffalo Bills when they lost to the Cowboys in 94, and then he also played for the New England Patriots when they lost in the Super Bowl to the Packers back in 96, 97. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And now, did he teach you some of the NFL skills that you had? I guess you looked up to him from an athletic standpoint, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, from the time I played football, picked up a ball in middle school, through high school and college, he was always that sound voice to let me know what was coming next and what I should be preparing for. So, yeah, he taught me a lot when it comes to the game of football and football knowledge.
Jenny Winny, she's got a question. You know how I know that, Jacob?
I see the big star with the question mark.
Yeah, that's it. Jenny, what you got?
Well, I was just thinking, so like NFL, when you see that logo, okay, back then, what was your mindset on, like, was that the ultimate success? I've made it. And how does that different now when you look back and you're like, that was just that was a time in my life.
Yeah. I mean, when growing up, every kid wanted to make it to the NFL, right? They wanted to play on Sundays. They wanted to be at that top spot because there's really no other height that you can get to from that game, right? Looking back, great experience. I love the fact that I was able to make it. I was practicing next to Randy Moss, catching back passes from Aaron Brooks, Warren Sapp's on the other side of the line. I'm ward number 19 for the Raiders. It was a great period of time, but at the same time, I never want that to be the title that is tied to me, right?
That's right.
Ex-NFL football player, right?
Yep.
That's why my title after my name on LinkedIn is human being, because at the end of the day, we're going to lose those. Yeah, you're a human being. You're going to lose your title. You're not a VP of a marketing firm. Like you are the human being that you are when you lay your head down, because as soon as you lose that title, that's all you're left with anyway.
That's it.
But it is a huge, I love that. But it's a huge accomplishment. You're right. It's a goal of so many folks to make it to the NFL. And what I like to see, Jacob, is that probably that evolution from you're the absolute rock star on the high school team, then you're a rock star at college, and then you get to the NFL, and maybe it's a lot tougher out there, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's funny because when you're a freshman in high school, you were the best in 8th grade, right? And then you go to high school and you're back to the bottom of the barrel, and you've got to work your way and prove your way, right? Same thing happened in college. Even though I started true as a wide receiver in college, I still had to prove myself. There were seniors that had been there for 4 or 5 years that wanted to make sure that things weren't just going to get handed to you. So you had to prove yourself to them and also the coaches. And at the end of the day, you got to prove yourself to yourself, because self-doubt and imposter syndrome creeps in at every level,
every level.
Yeah. So
at every level, I want that to kind of sit in, right? It doesn't matter who you are or where you're at, that imposter syndrome comes up. Jenny Winny, so one of the other things we're going to do, we got more ink blots for you, but before we get to those, Jenny Winny's got a scenario for you. Don't you, Jenny Winny?
Okay, Daniel and I, we've kind of chit-chatted over this. And you do a lot of speaking, okay? So you are the keynote speaker for an event. You're hyped. They have someone before you that speaks. And you're like, wow, that was great. The audience is clapping. Some of them are crying. They've been laughing. And you're like, oh, God, how do you feel when you're the keynote speaker?
Right. So let me hammer this home. You're the keynote speaker. You're next in line.
Yep.
The speaker before you hits an absolute home run, and the crowd loves him. Like Jenny said, it's emotional. They're cheering for him, and you are the keynote.
Yeah.
So you take a deep breath and you start walking up to the stage. Take us inside your head.
Inside my head, this actually happened about a month ago when I was in Curacao. I was the final keynote speaker, and one of my good friends, Rio from Zappos, did two talks before mine, and he was the talk of this whole event. It was Curacao, and his talk was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And luckily, I had a few minutes before I went up there to at least congratulate him and thank him for his talk. The best thing that you can do as a speaker or as anyone that's following someone like that is to piggyback off of almost everything they said. I mean, literally just continue the flow of what they said, continue to revert back to what they talked about in there, work some of their talk into yours so it doesn't look like or feel like or seem like, because it shouldn't be a competition, right? At the end of the day, my talks are a little different than anyone else's talks, and it's purposeful that way. It's literally intention to be different. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a transformational speaker. At the end of the day, I want to transform people's minds to think differently about their life and shift their perspective about their goals. And so what I did is I took some of Rio's talk and worked some of his humor into my talk. So it made sure that everyone knew that we were all on the same page and we were there together, because at the end of the day, the audience is the only one that matters.
Yeah. What was the thing about, I love that answer. Thank you. What was it about his speech that was so great? You mentioned humor. Was there anything else that jumped out that you said, man, that impacted you, or you saw the audience reaction? What, can you think of anything specific there?
The talk was completely genuine. At the end of the day, he is the culture maestro for Zappos. He's the one that gives people tours when they come to Zappos, and he walks them through the history of Zappos, the culture of Zappos. He shows them all of the things that Zappos does and why they are the best at what they do. And they sell shoes, right? But at the end of the day, they want to make people feel good about their shopping experience, and that's exactly what he does. And he made everyone in the audience feel good about their experience while he was giving his talk about Zappos. So that was one thing that I wanted to take away, is to make sure that I connected one-on-one with at least a couple of people in the audience to make sure that they're seen, they're heard, and I want them to know that this talk isn't talking to them, but I'm having a conversation with them.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it's got to be tough. Go ahead, Jeannie.
Is it hard though? Like you said, you incorporated some of his back, so it flowed, but was it hard? Did you do it, like make a conscious effort and say, okay, I'm going to interject that then, or did it just flow?
It kind of flowed, and don't get me wrong, it takes a while to get to that point to be able to flow like that.
Yes.
But it was something that was very simple to do because his content was just great. His talk was
he was authentic, and
he was authentic. Yes.
It sounds like he got you into an authentic place, right? Even more so.
Yeah, even more.
There's like degrees of authentic, and it's like the more we can pull that back, and then we're not trying to be anything that we're not being exactly who we are. I think that's fantastic, Jenny. I'd love to see one of the images that I haven't seen. I want to see where you're going to take me and Jacob. I want you to take us somewhere. Show us.
This isn't. I'm not trying to make y'all think like this was this day or what, but like a feeling. It could be like. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to see what y'all feeling.
Got it.
I know what it makes me feel. Okay.
Oh, man.
Makes me feel like the Golden Girls.
Yeah. My first feeling with this is I might be in trouble. And I need to make sure I get to a phone to call my parents, right? I need to find one of those booth phones and call my parents, because I either need to. I'm coming home late, or I'm in trouble and I need some help. I very rarely use these types of phones, but if I did, I was calling those parents for help.
Yeah, where my mind went, it was a dark, rainy night, right? I'm at like a little, I don't know, not a QT. That's too nice. Just a little fast. What am I trying to say? A convenience. Yeah, a little cricket.
Yeah.
Right? And it's been a rough night. Like Jacob said, I need to call somebody. So you run up to that phone and you make a call. But yeah, fortunately let's see what Raquel says here. Let's see what Rock says.
Oh yeah. takes me back to when I would be at the movies and I'd have to call them after when I was ready to be picked up.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Or like you would try to call your friends or something. You know, part of me though, I look at that payphone too as kind of like mischievous. You know, maybe we were calling a boy or something because we couldn't call him from home.
Yep.
Oh yeah, maybe doing a prank call.
Yeah, well, yeah. Back when
You know, I used to love doing prank calls. That's
Oh
lovely.
yeah.
Well, now you'll be arrested for that.
True.
Yeah, it's too easy to track us. All right, Jenny, I like it. Give me another one.
Okay. This one's one that I want to know what I kind of feel. I really want to know what Jacob feels about this.
Okay.
Failure. So there's a difference between failing and a failure, right? And when you get to the point where you feel as though you are a failure, it's pretty hard. I was there August 17, 2009, where I felt like I was a failure. I was in a failed marriage. I was failing as a parent. I was failing in my job, in my career, and I had failed out of the NFL. And when I see that word failure, it takes me back to that day, because that was the day that I was going to take my life.
Oh, wow.
And I had planned for about 6 months to take my life because I felt like a failure.
Oh my goodness.
And as I was headed towards the tree that I was going to hit and make it look like an accident, I heard a voice in the back of my head, and it said, "Jacob, fail forward." And that was my aunt, who had told me to fail forward if football didn't work out 3 years prior. And from that day, I decided that I was not a failure, but that I had failed, but I didn't have to give up, right? And failure did not have to be the end, but it could be the platform I could stand on in order to get back up and to jump back to the heights that I wanted to be at. So failure is tough. It's a tough, very emotional word to me. Failing.
Yeah.
It does nothing, because as long as you fail forward, then you're doing well.
Man, that's a powerful story. Thank you for that.
Very much so.
And now, you know, and that really scales everything. I mean, the story you just told us, everything that we might fear, anything that you might be up against, I mean, that's life and death. I mean, that's game continuing or game stopping, you know, and you made the decision, the game's going to keep going. And you made it for everybody else so that we can benefit from your being here and telling the story.
I love too that I think it was yesterday that when you were posting about expensing things.
Oh yeah.
That I was like, oh, and then somebody said the pursuit of happiness, and it was just so true.
Yeah.
Because you remember feeling so for Will Smith when his boss is like, "Hey, you got a couple of bucks there?"
$5.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's like, oh no. Yeah, I felt that. That was a great post.
I do a lot of I reference the pursuit of happiness quite a bit in my talks. And if you guys see me share Chris Gardner, who the pursuit of happiness was about. So Chris Gardner owns a large brokerage in Chicago, multimillionaire at this point, but the pursuit of happiness was about his life and how he got to where he was. And I can remember there were times where I was, broker than broke. The alarms would trip when I walked past the bank because I was that broke. So $5 might as well have been $500 at that point, right? And but the pursuit of happiness, Chris Gardner, one of his favorite quotes, and one of my favorite quotes, is "Speak what you seek until you see what you've said." And if you watch that movie, you will see Will speaking those words into existence and living that life. And he was talking about doing those things that he does now, even when he was, completely broke. His wife couldn't stand him and she was treating him like crap. He was trying to be a good dad to his son. He was still speaking positive words. And that is why he is where he is today.
Yeah, it was very.
That was a great movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
But now I've got a rule where anything that comes up into my mind, Jacob, part of being real for this show is I've got to ask, right?
Yeah.
So I can't, if I hear Will Smith, I've got to ask you about the slap. I mean, I love Fresh Prince. I love that.
Yeah.
And Will Smith, to do that, I was like, what, dude?
Yeah.
Like, what was we don't have to be controversial about it, but what was your take on that? What did you think?
Oh my God. Will Smith is one of my favorite people. I've got his book. I've got his book on my nightstand. Like he is one of my favorite people. He is one of my favorite actors. I think he's got a great portfolio of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just watched the movie where he played, Serena and Venus's dad.
Right.
Yes.
In the movie, and it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Now, when Chris Rock made the joke, you could see the pain on Will's face because he did not know what to do in that moment, right?
He did.
And
That's what I saw.
Didn't know what to do in that
what
moment.
to do.
And women, hear me out, because you have a lot more power than you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, your man wants to protect you emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially. He wants to be that safety net. And if he feels like he's not being that for you, then he does not feel like a man. So what Will Smith was doing was he's trying to show his wife in that moment that he is a man and he is the man for her. Mm-hmm. And he was acting out of character. I mean, he just was,
He was.
And it sucks.
Hey, here's what I'll say. I thank you for that answer. I had to ask the question. I had to. What I will say is that I want to be forgiven for the mistakes I've made, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously nobody knows who the average dude is, but everybody knows who Will Smith is. And of course, he's got a bigger stage. But just like you were talking about, it doesn't matter where you are. We all make mistakes. It just happens that his is in front of everybody. But if I'm sitting at a restaurant and somebody makes a comment, to your point, my girlfriend's there, or my whatever situation, then you want to stand up and you want to protect it. Who knows all the things that people have done? So we have to let it go. We have to forgive. Chris Rock got his jabs back. Now it's just forget it, right?
He's made a lot of great memes too. I mean,
there's a lot of great memes.
I appreciate the talent, because I think he's unbelievably talented. Jeannie Winny, what else you got? Take us somewhere else.
Okay. This is one that you do know, but I'd love to see this. Let's see.
Oh man, I just saw Nick speak last week, and I've never seen any human being grace the stage the way he did and speak real truth for an hour. Like it was absolutely incredible. And afterwards, I got a chance to have lunch with Nick, and he is as genuine can be. He is definitely a godsend, man. This guy is incredible, and I can't wait to see him speak again. He could say the exact same things, and I'm pretty sure I would still feel the same way. I mean, he's absolutely incredible, and I hope that I can impact and have the magnitude of impact that he has had on this world one day.
I'm not familiar with his story. Can you give us just the 30,000 foot flyby of who he is?
Yep, born in Australia. He was born with no arms, no legs, no limbs. Doctors had no idea why. No one could explain it. Shortly after, he went to school, living a normal life as a child. When he turned about 14, I believe, he started doing speaking at his high school. And while he was speaking, a janitor told him that he needed to be a speaker. And he's like, "What do I need to speak about?" He was like, "You need to tell your story." He's like, "I have no story." And he's like, "No, the janitor is like, you need to speak." And the janitor would chase him and follow him and tell him, "You need to speak and tell your story." And finally, Nick did this in front of his whole high school. And he tells a story about this young girl that walks up to him and says, "Hey, can I give you a hug?" during the talk. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, give me a hug." And she hugs him, and she says, "I've never had anyone tell me I was valuable and I was loved."
Wow.
And in that moment, he realized that he had work to do, and he's been doing that for the last 30 years.
Isn't that amazing? He gave somebody a hug. He doesn't have any arms or legs.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I got to give him a hug right after his talk, and I got to take a picture with him, and it was an incredible moment.
Yeah.
Wow. Does he stay in touch with that janitor?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. And the janitor may not even be alive to this day, but I guarantee that there are people that come into our lives that speak life into us. And all of us have had a janitor moment where someone told us,
janitor moment. I love that.
Something inside of you, and there's something you need to be doing.
Yes. Sometimes other people can see situations and things more, and you're right. They've got a certain perspective. And so when they tell you that, that's why it's so great to have people around that will speak what they see, about you, that will validate you, that will recognize you. That doesn't happen very often in this competitive world that we live in, does it?
No, not at all. Most people keep those things to themselves, but the ones and the friends that you have in your circle that not only inspire you but motivate you and encourage you, that's your tribe. That is your tribe, and you want to keep close to those people because they're the ones that are going to be there whether you're doing well or not.
Right.
When you think about your athletic career, was there one person that was that? And I know there's been this long transfer. It's been a long story, right?
Yeah.
But was there one person that maybe said something to you during that part of your life, the athletic portion, that gave you the confidence or reignited a fire or anything like that?
There's something that one of my coaches, Joe Dana, he's an NFL coach right now. He was a wide receivers coach and a safeties coach at the University of Central Michigan. When I was there, he was my position coach. He had walked on to Central and played there for 4 years, came back as a coach. And he's just a phenomenal man, phenomenal human being. But he was also one of the hardest coaches I've ever had to play for because he expected you to reach your potential and surpass it. Mm-hmm. One thing that he would always say to me is, why not you? Mm-hmm. Why not you? Right? Mm-hmm. Why not you to be on Top 10 Sports Center? Why not you to go make it to the NFL? Why not you? You see all these other guys, you see all these other people doing these things. Why not you?
Why
and
not you?
Yeah, that why not you sticks in my head even now. No matter what it is, it's why not you? You know,
I'm writing it down.
Yeah. He was like, why not me?
That is true. Because we feel like that's for everybody else.
Yeah, it's not for us, right?
Well,
why not? Why not you? What's stopping you?
Because they can do that. We make excuses. That's amazing.
Now, let me ask you something else. Just thinking about sports, and I think that being self-aware, knowing our strengths and knowing our weaknesses, kind of being able to call it like it is, that's probably important in the NFL. Can you talk about that kind of self-awareness and knowing where you are, but not, it's not ear-tickling. He wasn't telling you that you were something that you're not, but you got to know why not you at the same time, right?
Yeah. I think we become our best versions of ourselves when we realize what we're not and what we don't want to be. Right.
Yeah.
Because once you realize what you're not, then you can focus on what you are and you can grow and build on that. Right. And you know what? That changes sometimes. That changes during the seasons of life. Right.
Yes.
So there might be a season of life where you are this like incredible athlete. Then there might be in a season of life where you're a leader. Then there might be a season of life where you're a mentor.
That's great.
So you've got to realize and have discernment of where you are in your life and your seasons of life, but also be honest with yourself when it's time to move on. And that's the tough part. And when you tie yourself to a title, when you tie yourself to a profession, when you tie yourself to a thing and not who you are in the inside, it's harder to move on because your identity is tied to that instead of your identity being tied back to being a human being and a good one at that.
Love it. Back to the human being. All right, Jenny, Winny, got another image for us?
Oh, an image? Yeah. Sure, I have a question.
Hey, that's what I like to do.
All right. Let's see here.
See where Jenny Winny's going to take us, Jacob.
All right.
Oh, Daniel. I'm trying to find it real quick. There
we go. Rubik's Cube. I mean, this takes me right back to The Pursuit of Happiness when he was in the back of that cab when I think they were headed to work or something or headed back home. And the guy that Will Smith was or Chris Gardner was trying to get an internship, bet him that he could not do the Rubik's Cube on their way home. And Will did it, right? And there are moments in our lives where we're going to have those heights and there's lows, right? And Will was operating in a high-performing mindset where he was hyper-focused and he did this Rubik's Cube, which is almost impossible.
It is impossible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never been able to do a
Me
Rubik's
either. I thought about peeling the stickers off and then putting them back on.
I'm so confused by that little toy. It's like, how in the world? My mind just does not work that way.
Yeah. So that's what the Rubik's Cube does.
It makes me think of a challenge. I mean, really. You know what I want to do though, Jacob? Can I show you a picture of somebody you just guess their age?
All right.
At that time in their life, At
that time?
Yeah. This is one that I sit there and I go, man, I just can't even believe some of this. It's just messing with my head so much. But okay, let's see.
Fred Sanford. At this time, he was probably 45, 50.
Okay, you can't play anymore. You don't get to play. No more playing with you. We're done.
How old was he?
He was 48. He was 48.
Oh man, I was close.
Hey, you got the. Y'all see what I did with my finger? I got my pen on there.
Yeah,
but,
I was like,
what I was gonna say is yesterday Jenny showed me that picture, and I thought he was much older than that.
Oh yeah,
60 something.
Yeah, the grays kind of give it away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, this is, it's the reason that we wanted to start going down these images is because I just keep thinking about the ink blot test, right? I mean, you see something, I see something, Jenny sees something. We're looking at the same place, but an image to the mind, it's like a search engine, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's funny that multiple people can see the exact same thing, but see it different ways.
Oh,
I think that's interesting.
Yes, Jenny, what you got?
I was gonna say, I noticed too that I think if you're gonna label yourself, you're very much a family man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How many children do you have?
I've got 4 children. I've got 3 boys and a baby girl. 16, 14, 6, and 4.
Whoa.
Baby girl just turned 4 last Wednesday. So yeah, it's quite a spread. My 2 older ones are from a previous marriage. I got remarried 3 years later, and then we have 2 small ones. So you guys pray for me. My 16-year-old is now driving, so
wow,
I'm a little worried.
I'm just telling you. Yeah, and then I saw that you were at field day.
Yes, I was at field day with my 6-year-old yesterday.
Are you one of those hands-on dads that?
I try to be as hands-on as possible with my kids. My dad was always present. He was always around, and he never missed any sporting event. He never missed any school event.
Yeah.
But he was absent when it came to 2 things. He never told me he loved me or was proud of me until I turned 25. Or at least I never remember him telling me that.
Yes.
And when he did, it was within a Word document. Now, it's not that I'm bashing my father, but I think that generation, it was just tough for them to express their feelings. My dad tells me he loves me and he's proud of me all the time now, right? But during that time, he wanted to make me a man, right? He wanted to make sure that I wasn't soft or anything like that. Yeah. But I tell my kids all the time, my boys, I'm hugging them, kissing them, telling them I love you, I'm proud of you all the time, because that's the last thing that they're going to have to think about, as they grow up as young men, and my baby girl as a young woman.
Well, that takes me back to coaching and different coaching styles, right?
Yeah.
You got the face mask grabbers screaming at you. I think of hardball when I think of that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then you've got the Dabo Sweeneys, pat you on the back, lift you up.
Yeah.
What do you think? What kind of coach did you like going through school?
What was the most effective?
Yeah.
I mean, you might not have liked the ones that were hard, but they might have been the most effective.
Yeah, I think I responded to both. I think I responded more so to the coaches that were in my face and letting me know, like, hey, you messed up, or hey, you did great, right? The coaches that kind of stood off, I always said that coaches that stop talking to you, they basically have given up on you. So the closer a coach was, grabbing my face mask, yeah, please.
Hey, that's a great point. Hey, I love that. If you're watching right now and your boss hasn't talked to you in a while, that's not necessarily a good thing.
It's not a good thing.
Doesn't mean that you're doing great.
No, he's not. He's giving up. You're going to talk to HR next.
Yep.
Jenny, do you have any more images, Jenny?
Oh, Daniel, I do not. I did 5 images. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
Now, you know what? I just going back to that with your children. To me, I was the same way. I mean, I had wonderful parents, and they were always. But I will move the earth to be there for something for my kids.
Absolutely.
Always, they'll always remember it,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be something very. And you're just like, well, it's just so insignificant. I just went to an awards day for my grandson. And when he saw me, it's like, hey, and I feel like a superstar, Was it convenient? Not really. It was right in the middle of the day. It was, 45 minutes away from work.
Yeah.
But they remember that. And I think that just really has an effect on who they become.
Mm-hmm. And I literally, as soon as I leave here, my son has his last track meet. He's made it all the way to, I guess you could call it states or the county.
Yeah.
He's in 8th grade, and he is second in the county in shot put. And I'm hoping he can beat the guy And he's very excited. And I made sure, I said, hey, I have a podcast. I'm getting my truck as soon as I get done, and I'm headed straight to you because I'm coming to watch.
Yes.
And my daughter has a recital, her ballet recital tonight. So being there, showing the effort, your kids knowing that you're trying is the only thing that matters.
Hey, I've got to tell you this, Jacob. I'm telling you, June 1st is a special day. I'm telling you. I told Jenny before, I said, I've got a scenario for Jacob. And Jenny will back me up on this. I said, let's ask him if he's got a son doing a sporting event and his daughter's doing a piano recital. Which one does he go to?
That's what we said. We were like, who do you choose? And then you said it. And we're like, what's happening?
Luckily, they're at different times. So I don't have to choose. But if I ever had to choose, my wife would go to one, I'd go to the other one. And we're representing both places. But
that's awesome.
More than likely, I'd probably go to my baby girls.
Well, we wanted to have you. I was excited about this day. So we want to start. We want to find the human being in every guest. It's been easy with you, right? But what we want to do with our show, using some of these things that we've started doing, is to find the human in everybody we talk to.
Yeah.
Because whether it's, it doesn't matter who it is, we've got that one commonality of being a human.
Absolutely.
That's what I told Daniel. I said, literally, we've been doing this for a little over a year now. And we're like, what would you say our niche? What is it? Mm-hmm. And it is. It's finding the human in everyone. And I said, well, this is the perfect guest because he is like the personification of that. Because like you said, it's like when we go to sleep at night, don't be tied to a title.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? You're Jacob Brown. You're the dad. You're the husband. Just the good guy, the good human being. And Daniel's he's just the average dude.
He's the average dude.
I'm the average dude. That much I know for sure. Do not hand me a Rubik's Cube. Whatever you do.
Me either, please.
Well, Jacob, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today. I want to let you make it to that track meet.
I know. I was thinking, let him go. Let him go.
I hope your son brings home the gold, or however it is that we're going to look at that these days. But thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I thought your show was phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to sharing it.
Thank you, Jacob. Have a good one.
All right.
See you. Bye.
See ya. Well, Jenny,
well,
I liked your images.
I know.
I liked your images. Now, what I'm going to, I was hoping you had another one.
Well, Daniel, I mean, I thought that 5 images would have been plenty.
I know, but
I know now I'm just going to have a smorgasbord of them. So when you say it, I'm popping.
Well, what we can do is think about the guests that we have and think about some of the things that we may want to talk about and use those as breadcrumbs. But we also talked about doing the little tune, right? To have a tune that plays, because music does the same thing. So you got one for me?
Yeah. And this is the one I played for you yesterday, but it always, I'm pulling it up, Daniel. It brings the same, I don't know. Everybody has a different feeling when it comes to it. Here we go.
I missed the beat. Yeah. Okay.
Does that not motivate you to go and just run a flight of stairs or just succeed?
I will. Yeah, I mean that is a great workout song. So that takes me back to F3 this morning, right? So I was we call it the Q. I had the Q, which means you lead the group at F3, and so you also bring your own music.
Oh,
and that I know now. The next time,
there you go.
You know, because that automatically, nobody has ever stopped doing anything when that song's played. I mean, whatever it is you're doing.
You have to be like, you better have broken a limb or you're about to throw up.
Yeah. Hey, isn't that interesting that Sylvester Stallone got 2 mentions today?
Ooh.
Sylvester Stallone came full circle.
Listen, and I'm telling you, it's the power of advertising, because I was, turning on one of my stream channels and I've been rewatching, I told you, Family Ties. Well, but they're pushing this reality show, Sylvester Stallone, the Family Man, all this kind of stuff. And so it kept popping up, and I was like, I just want to see what it's about, And there it went.
There you go. Hey, you also played one other sound. Can you play that sound for me?
Well, Daniel, I surely can. Let's see here.
Because we're getting. You've already done it, so we can't use it for future.
Can't use it now. I don't know if I could. Here we go. It's Well, Daniel, I don't know that we have it. Here we go.
Yeah. Now what you did just then just reminded me of Roger, by the way. That little hand motion, that looked like something your brother would do.
Well, we're related.
But Pac-Man was a fantastic game. And it's full of analogies. I'm not going to bore you.
Daniel? I know. Yeah, that's right. You like to use Pac-Man. But do you remember how, when we were children, we didn't have Atari at first. We had the Odyssey.
The Odyssey.
Do you remember what their version of Pac-Man was?
No.
Casey Munchkin.
Casey Munchkin? I don't remember that. I do remember Pickaxe Pete. Wasn't that their Donkey Kong?
Yeah. Good time.
Hey, random story. No one else cares about this, but I was playing Pickaxe Pete when my brother David put his foot out and got it caught in the chain of the bicycle. Do you remember that?
Yeah. His little toe.
Yeah, his toe.
I thought it got stuck in the spokes.
Yeah, we weren't sure exactly where the foot went into the bicycle, the whole mechanism there, but it got mauled up pretty good, remember?
Yeah, it got ripped almost off.
But interestingly, I was playing. We should clip this and then put it on our highlight reel so people will tune in.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to drive our numbers way up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it probably will. Because, also, I know that, there's this other show called, Eric and something.
Yeah. Eric Ryan, he stopped by for a little while.
Yeah, he did for just a little while. But,
what? Eric.
He says it's the best, his show's the best hour that you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
But until you get to this hour.
And then we've got the 11:30 to 12:30 block. And we are not giving up until this comment section is just what I want to do. One more thing, and I'm gonna let everybody go. Like they wouldn't go anyway, right?
Yeah. But y'all have to stay until class.
Hey, Daniel's gonna say something. Quiet down, everybody. So what I would love to do is have something where the audience can kind of vote on something, right? So even if it's just, okay, put 1, 2, 3, or 4. So you bring up an image and it's got 3 choices. Almost like polling, but with images. Because I think I want to do more with words, just words like you did. So you did failure this time. And I think because words, just like images, just seeing that, tell me where your mind goes when you see this word. And
you know what? When he brought up and when we started talking about the pursuit of happiness and everything, I didn't even remember about the Rubik's Cube in there. I didn't. In my mind, I was thinking about the Rubik's Cube, but it just shows how what his mind is thinking about. You know what I mean?
Yes. And the reason that I think it's going to be a fun thing moving forward is it gives us a way to tap into that without asking the question directly, right? We could have talked to him and asked a lot of questions and never gotten to that, which I think is what makes us all human when we can. You
get to the human part of it because
it's like, where does your mind go? That's why it's the ink blot test, right? Some psychoanalyst can understand all those answers.
All of a sudden, we all went back to I'm in trouble or, ooh, I'm doing something,
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny that the phone was the only one for me that kind of it was a very ambiguous place. I just saw a setting. I didn't have any, you know what I mean? It just took me to that, it took me to the Little Cricket right there at California Avenue.
Yeah.
That's and it was dark and it was kind of shady. You know what I mean? It was raining and there were some sketchy characters out there. Hey, this has been a lot of fun. Jenny, thanks for doing the images. That was great. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Jacob Brown. Jacob Brown, you are an awesome human being. Thank you for joining us. And we'll have another great human being next week. Got a lot of fun guests coming up. Have a great day, everybody. Let's roll. See ya.